Okay.
Governor Abbott, thank you so much for joining us. If the administration declares that it plans to federalize the National Guard of the state of Texas, your National Guard, what will be your response?
Well, first, I'll be shocked. That would be a boneheaded move on his part, a total disaster. But for one, as you might imagine, we are prepared in the event that that unlikely event does occur to make sure that we will be able to continue exactly what we've been doing over the past months, and that is building these barriers, and whether it be the Constitutional wire or other anti-crime border barriers, whatever we've been building, the Biden administration is now trying to attack us because of it. And we will continue to do exactly what we're doing to expand our denial of illegal entry into the state of Texas.
With state employees, I assume, not with National Guard, but can you envision a scenario in which you would put armed state employees on the border instead of the National Guard of Texas?
We do have other armed state employees on the border as we speak right this minute, and that's the Texas Department of Public Safety, as well as other law enforcement officers, as well as National Guard from other states. And you can be assured there will be more National Guard from other states and more law enforcement officers within the state of Texas and other states. And Tucker, I just signed a new law in the state of Texas that will go into effect on March the 5th that authorizes any law enforcement officer in the state of Texas to be able to arrest anybody coming across the border illegally.
Whoa, it's on, bro. It's Civil War 2.0. This is it. This is what everyone's been talking about. It's time to get it on.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't believe that it's going to go that far. But we got multiple states sending their guard in.
Yeah. What's his name? The guy from Fox, Steve Ducey, was interviewing, I think, the governor of Oklahoma, and he said, "What are you going to do?" And they both kind of skirted the issue, like, "What are you going to physically do if he federalizes the National Guard?" They're like skirting it, and even Abbott danced around it. But I don't know what federalizing means. Like, he signs a presidential edict, let's say, Biden, and he says, "I federalized the National Guard." Now what?
Well, I mean, JFK did it. In, Alabama and
Mississippi. But Eisenhower did, I think, in Alabama. Mississippi was in Oxford, where the Kennedys did battle with General Walker. That was the Oxford, Mississippi case. But I guess it's done. But I don't know what physically happens is what I'm getting at.
Yeah, I mean, it's insane. And yeah, no, he did in Alabama too.
Yeah,
but he can do it. So I don't have a good answer. And yes, Abbott can then send the state police down there, Department of Public Safety.
I don't know.
It's escalating.
It's escalating quickly.
Really, really rapidly.
But before we get started, could we just take care of some business on the show and see where we're at and just do some business stuff, get it out of the way instead of waiting till the end, where we are with the meetup, subscriptions, the part 2 of Oswald, that whole thing, and then we could get on.
Sure. Okay. First up, the meetup is still on schedule. There are links in the description, both here on YouTube or Rumble, wherever people are watching. It's available. We've been getting sales the whole time we were there.
This is in Youngstown, Ohio, for people who don't know where we're going. So Youngstown, it's, I think, March 16th and the 17th that weekend, Eric.
Yes.
I don't know exactly what the dates are, but there will be food. There will be chatter. There will be conspiratorial talk. We will break down into small cells, nefarious as that sounds. We will discuss various issues of the day privately among ourselves. We will have the Pledge of Allegiance like we did in Montgomery. We will have entertainment. We will have drink. They can drink legally, I think, in the state of Ohio. And
yes, they are encouraged to.
They're encouraged to drink. We will have Ohio-centric discussions about Ohio because we're in Ohio. including the primary, which is coming up on the 19th. And
maybe
is a great answer, right? It is a maybe, because Ronna may wipe the slate clean at the RNC. She's now.
What's the point of Nikki? I mean, she's only getting dims anyway.
Okay, so we're going to discuss that. We're going to discuss the 50th anniversary of Watergate from 1974, that being the court cases involving Watergate. We're going to have a panel discussion on that. We're going to discuss Youngstown as a crime town and James Traficant on an episode that we did before. There's plenty of people coming to, who have fans who are living in Ohio, who can literally roll out of bed and go to this event, and then people who can drive and not have to get onto various airlines and have the doors blown off. So you can use the safety of your own car, unless the state of California decides that you can't go 10 miles an hour over the speed limit with a regulator built into the cars by 2025, controlling the speed of the vehicles.
How are you going to control the speed of the vehicle unless it's connected? And that's my issue with connected cars, because then they'll go one further and say, you know what? We're just going to have you drive every other day. You don't need to drive on Tuesdays and Thursdays, Mark. You only need to drive on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.
Oh, no, we'll get into it. But let's just finish this thing about subscribers. We're at 106,000. This thing hasn't moved in 5 years. I mean, it's not so hard to subscribe. I got a very nice letter from a woman, I think from Ohio, has no arms and legs, and she was able to crawl over to her computer using either her tongue or her head to push the subscribe button. And she wanted me to give her the sound of the bell. I have to, because of how hard she tried to subscribe. So this is for Dolores Linsworthy in Canton, Ohio. This is a tribute to her effort with no arms and no legs. I don't want to shame anyone who's out there about subscribing, but a woman with no arms and no legs was able to hit the subscription button, unlike you people who apparently can't even get off the couch to subscribe, let alone come to the meetup and eat lasagna with us and various other desserts. So if you can subscribe, maybe we'll start to believe in you. Until then, we really can't. I mean, it's just, there was one guy in the comment section yesterday. He just went on and on how great the show was. I forget which episode he was talking about. And he says, if you keep it up, I'll think about subscribing. Now, this is 500. I just want to say something. This is 540 videos in 2.5 years. This guy's thinking about subscribing because he liked the Rodney Dangerfield episode. I mean, this is becoming such a mountain to climb for us. Other channels don't seem to have this problem. Obviously, we've got political issues with YouTube. Obviously, there's electronic stuff going on that Eric and I are not aware of. We fought back against the forces of evil for the past 2.5 years. After Eric was nuked, we rebuilt, we came back bigger than ever. And nevertheless, you fat bastards sit there and can't even get off your fat asses to subscribe to the channel. It's kind of embarrassing. My mother contacted me from the afterlife the other night. She's been dead for a number of years, but she was so upset about this that I had a seance, and she reached out to me from the afterlife and said, what's going on with the subscriptions? And I said, I don't know, Mom. I'm going to talk to Eric and possibly talk to the audience about it. Now, Eric, if you can address part 2 of the Oswald AI scenario.
All right. Well, part 2 of Oswald AI, I'm hopefully getting up this weekend. I'm out of town right now, so I have to download it. It's a huge file, etc., and then upload it to locals, make sure everything's ducked, but it is done. So part 2 is going up this weekend.
Okay. For the people who don't know what this is a project developed by Oliver Stone and myself on Lee Harvey Oswald, a 10-part miniseries that we have broken down into 5 parts through the work of AI. It comes to life. We've already done part 1. Eric is now talking about part 2. There's 5 parts. We're going to release them periodically throughout the year, a little bit after the 60th anniversary of the JFK assassination. If you're a Locals member, how do you do this? If you're not, how do you get it, Eric? What's the rules?
If you are a Locals supporter, right now we just have one thing. We made it really simple. Everybody can have an annual subscription on Locals,
right on.
And they can get the extra content like the Oswald scripts and the Oswald audio drama.
Oh, right. You get the script
Locals
too,
member.
Right. Go on. Yeah.
Or they're a Locals member and they just they get whatever free stuff there is. There's benefits to both. Obviously, if you're a paid supporter for a year, you get the additional. We put books up there. We put we're putting Oswald up there exclusively for paying supporters. And you guys are, in a sense, you're kickstarting us, really. By doing this, you're helping us fund doing this pretty massive project.
Did you put up the JFK script, by the way, the other on Locals?
I did, yes.
Okay, so we did an episode on the film JFK, and I put up the Oliver Stone draft that he gave me on Locals for members, Eric? Who was that for? The PDF?
No, that's for paying supporters.
For paying supporters. So we did the JFK film Q&A, and then Eric put up the PDF of the JFK original script. So you can get that and watch with the episode if you're a paid supporter, which I highly recommend. It's not that expensive. I think it's $70 for the whole year. And right? Is that crazy? Or no, it's like $70.
Yeah,
right?
$70 a year. Yeah.
Okay. Well, there's a lot of stuff on there. Secret documents, stuff that is not available for just browsers that are behind the Iron Curtain, so to speak. But it's, like I said, $70 for the whole year. And I think it might be well worth it. I know it's tough times for everybody, but we do a lot of work on the show to make it work. So anyway, the like button, I don't know what the like button does. If you hit the like button, something happens where YouTube, the bat signal goes up and they demonetize us immediately. So the like button may trigger them, for all I know. Who knows? We're probably demonetized right now. You know, I talked to Dr.
I'm checking, actually.
Okay.
Yes, we are.
I talked to Dr. Drew yesterday.
We are.
Dr. Drew, of course we are. I talked to Dr. Drew, and he said, yeah, he's been demonetized once in his entire life for some vaccine discrepancy that he did with one episode. And I said, I get it every day. And he didn't believe me. You know, he's at the festival here, the podcast rock festival, Woodstock of podcasts that Eric's attending in Orlando, Florida. So Eric is going to have to leave shortly to go to look, he's got a backstage pass. It's all access nerd fest. People walking around with headphones, talking to themselves. But right. Dr. Drew is there. Anyway, Adam Carolla, I'm sure he's not demonetized like we are. I think there's just a bunch of YouTube kids in a room laughing that, hey, they're on, let's go. And they gather around and they go about 30 seconds and demonetize us. But yeah, that's why the super chat helps. That's why the donations to the JFK book fund through PayPal helps. All of these side Locals things helps because we get demonetized. They have a thing for us. They have a fucking hard on. Whatever their problem is, they're not going to tell us. It's some political thing. And it's apparently quite obvious. You know, we're on Rumble, we're on Locals, but YouTube is the big gorilla at this time in American history. So we have to be on here to generate the numbers that we're generating. If we had numbers on Rumble, we'd be gone in a second. I'll tell you that right now. And Locals is starting to overcome the YouTube situation. So thank God for Locals. So anyway, I just wanted to say that. Let's get on with the show.
And thank all of you. Seriously.
Yeah.
We do thank you.
Okay, I just want to say this. I'm breaking out the Dodger Mark mug today because February 9th, which is just around the corner, Dodger pitchers and catchers are reporting for spring training, and our long winter national nightmare here is over as we begin to see the new Dodgers coming into camp in Camelback and down in Arizona, where the Dodgers have a camp, I think, with the White Sox. I think they share it with the White Sox. And yesterday I was watching on the news in Tucson, that corridor has now become the biggest illegal alien corridor of immigration, Eric. Tucson.
I'm not surprised. When I was out there last, I was there teaching a course on Indian reservation, Tohono O'odham.
Oh, yeah.
And
yeah.
I was driving out to teach this course, and it was the weirdest thing I'd ever seen. And I mean, this is almost 20 years ago, but I was like, it's like a parade or something. It's just all these people, and they were just walking right along the road.
Wow.
And it went for miles. It was like, you know, what's going on here? And when I finally got there, they were like, oh, yeah, that's illegals coming in. It's like,
well, what? I hope they don't close the floodgates before elections because nothing is more devastating, even to Biden liberals, seeing this, because they have no explanation and no defense of it. And the Biden ideologues who are running this open border society are not going to turn off the spigot. To them, it's like free cocaine. This pouring in of people of color is like some sort of sexual high for them. They just can't get over it, and they just can't get them in fast enough. I mean, you get to go on a plane. The TSA waves you on like you're scoring from third base on a triple. They're just waving people onto planes, as Dave Rubin showed in one of his videos. There's a special sign that he posted for illegal aliens from the TSA. I mean, an official sign where you have no ID, you have no money, you have no name, you have no nothing. There is a guy who walked across the border, some tall, perfectly well-dressed, English-speaking Arab from Azerbaijan, I think it was, who may be the head of Hamas. He looks just like him, who's just got out of jail a year ago, of Azerbaijan. And they put the pictures up side by side on Newsmax the other night on Rob Schmidt's show. They followed up the next day with the reporter who interviewed him. And the reporter said, there's a guy doing video reporting down there. And what he does is simply asks the illegal aliens, what country are you coming from? What city are you going to? And that's it. He just records every single one of them. So he does it to this guy, and this guy gives him a speech saying, you don't even know who I am, but you're so stupid. You will be hearing from me, and you will learn my name very shortly.
Great.
What's that?
Great. It doesn't sound chilling at all.
No. It's completely chilling. And anyway, so Schmidt was covering it, and then had the reporter on the next night, and they looked it up, and he's the dead ringer for this guy who just got out of jail a year ago for terrorism. He's the Hamas leader of Azerbaijan. And the thing was terrifying, Eric, terrifying. He was just mocking us and laughing. And he had like just a backpack and he had a nice sweater on, just wandering into Tucson.
Great. Well, glad I'm not there now. But I'm sure
you may hear from him somewhere else. I mean, it may not happen in Tucson.
Whew. Yeah, I don't know. But I'm wondering, part of the issue is that California, Arizona, it's helping them get congressional seats. I mean, that's half of the scam.
Just so you know, in this election, they're going to lose another 2 to 3.
Good.
It's going to take the 10-year census to count them, and a lot of them are illegal and uncountable. But right now, we're losing another 3 congressional seats.
Good.
From the drain.
That'd be nice. But then you were making wise decisions, like we started off with the car mention.
Yeah,
and
that's right.
Yeah. I stated that before about a lot of electric vehicles, etc., that they're connected cars. And when you connect the cars, hey, did you pay your insurance bill this month? Sorry, you can't drive. Hey.
Oh, right. It's a slippery slope. It's a slippery slope. They already, I mean, what's your name? The California website was talking about the fact that they attempted a couple of years ago to ban air conditioners, and that was a bridge too far. So now they're going to install the regulators in even old apartments, costing millions and millions of dollars, and retrofitting them to control the temperature within your apartment and house. The house, they did this sneaky, tricky thing 2 years ago on TV, offering you a free thermostat that's control. Yep. Yeah. So they did that, and then people realized last summer that they're controlling the thermostat. But that was basically for new homes and new apartments. Now they passed legislation to go in and retrofit even older low-income apartments to get everybody on board of the control of the temperatures of the apartments and houses.
And by the way, Nest is Google. So this is Google in bed with the government.
Yeah.
Fully. Everybody note that. And don't forget about the Ring doorbell, because guess who owns Ring? Amazon. Guess who is a provider for web services and cloud services for the government? Amazon. And
Zuckerberg said they're going to do the same thing they did with the election. He's going to spend millions and millions of dollars again, Zuckerberg, to influence the distribution of mail-in ballots, and because nothing happened to him. I mean, why wouldn't he? Making a documentary by Dinesh D'Souza doesn't really scare Zuckerberg.
Sorry. Cool. I don't know why the staff seems to be really interested in our room. They keep broke into the room a minute ago.
They know what's going on. They know what's going
Apparently.
on. Oh yeah.
They know I'm on with you.
That's right.
All right. I think we're clear.
Okay. What else you got over there?
Well, I mean, the big breaking news of the moment. Let me see. Did I already have that up? Yep. Here we go. Yeah, jury rules that Trump's got to pay an idiot $83.3 million in damages.
Why not 85? Why not round it up? This is Alex Jones 2.0. This is the same exact case.
Yeah, it is. I mean, why not why not make it up? I mean, hey,
what is 83? How do you break it down? 5 million for looking at her, 10 million for trying on the clothing.
Well, this is just for him saying that she's an idiot.
Right.
It's not even that.
Yeah.
So it's just saying, oh, he disparaged her, so we can call her a nut job, but he can't, apparently.
Right. It's absurd. It's through the looking glass now. It's just gone so far crazy. I mean, you can't even comment on the case without looking at this judge, who threatened Trump's lawyer yesterday, said he was going to put her in jail if she didn't sit down. It just reminds me of Roland Freisler, the Nuremberg judge out of Nazi Germany, 1933 to 1938, 42. I think he was killed maybe in 44 in a bombing that crushed his courthouse. But these are Nuremberg judges at this point. There's the guy right there in the middle. This is the judges. This is similar to what Kaplan. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of great video of him on YouTube, by the way. Of course, they don't take that off because somebody might, have a commercial running through it or something. But yeah, Roland Freisler was the face of the court system of the Nazi regime for most of their regime, Third Reich, and he sent a lot of different political people of different political stripes to their death and prison because he didn't like their attitude, their look, their political viewpoint, whatever their thing was. You had to go before this court, which is starting to look quite similar to our courts. I know that sounds inflammatory, but I don't know what else to say. That's where we are, people. I mean, it's becoming that drastic. When you're yelling at the president of the United States to sit down and shut up, that's what Roland Freisler was doing with different people who didn't support Hitler during that time period. I mean, this is getting so freaking nuts. And I think basically what you're seeing around the country in all of these cases is they have handpicked these stooges that they've got something on. They've handpicked this guy Kaplan. It's almost like The Godfather, like the phone rang and they said, now your time has come, Judge Kaplan. We need you to do our bidding, like right out of The Godfather. And we've given you a plush life. We've given you this money. And now we need to do this case and you're going to do what we want you to do. And I'm exaggerating for effect, but I don't really think it's that exaggerated. And I think that, Fannie Willis got the call. And I think this Alvin Bragg got the call. And I think this other woman in New York got the call. And most of them are incompetent and they're in there for a reason. These are not the best and the brightest. These people are literally the bottom of the barrel in their law schools, in their own profession. And that's the point. If they were the Jonathan Turleys of their world, they would not be doing this. If they were the Alan Dershowitzes, they would not be doing this. These are the scallywags and the scurrilous people who are easily pickable by the deep state, whether they've got something on them. And look what they've got on Fannie Willis all of a sudden. I mean, look what they unveiled. And believe me, Obama and the Biden administration knew this about Fannie Willis, and that's why they picked her. If you see over and over again their own legal incompetence, that's intentional because they're just puppets in this theatrical game. They're not intellectual geniuses. I mean, she didn't come up with this RICO statute idea down in Atlanta. That's somebody else that came up with that in the Obama camp. Said, let's charge him with RICO statutes. Let's do that. Believe me, she doesn't even know, and especially the boyfriend doesn't even know what a RICO statute is. I mean, it's really getting bizarre, Eric.
Yeah, this is a good one from the chat. Carrie Lake got the call too.
Well, the guy who called Carrie, the guy who called Carrie Lake got the call because
right. He was trying to call her to put her in line, but didn't.
Yes,
work
but
so
he
well.
himself,
Oh, sure.
who knocked on her door. That wasn't even a phone call, by the way. That was her in her kitchen with her daughter. That he said, "I can't talk to you on the phone about this. I happen to be outside your house, Eric. Can I come in?" And she said, "All right, you're the head of the GOP of Arizona. I guess you can come in." And she knew that, but she says that she knew by the intensity of his demand that maybe she should record this, which she did with her daughter present. And he is the one who said they're going to kill me. He is the one who kept saying they're going to blow up my car. He is the one that said the drug cartels are in 50 states. He was the one who was scared. So somebody called him and said, "You're the head of the GOP. We gave you this thing in Arizona for a reason, you piece of shit. And now we want you to get Carrie Lake on the reservation." And he probably said, "She's never going to do it." And they forced him to do what he did. You know, they don't give a shit that he resigned. They'll give him some other job.
Well, right. And that's why you don't have the best and the brightest, as they're easily replaceable.
Right.
But then again, here's more on the court situation. This is going a different way.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're familiar with this case, 2021. The FBI broke into a facility that had a bunch of safety deposit boxes.
Mm-hmm.
And rather than being specific on, like, if you have a warrant for like 2 boxes or whatever, oh, no, we don't have time for that. They went through all the boxes.
Yeah, Barnes talked about this, right? Robert,
right? And they were collecting fingerprints, everything else.
Oh yeah,
they've started new cases from this.
Yes. Now, why not break into everybody's house? You don't need a search warrant.
The amazing thing is, it's great that the circuit court overturned it. I think it was the circuit, the ninth district or whatever. Unanimously said it was an incredibly egregious offense. But what bothers me is that there was a judge that okayed it, that he even had to get up to the appeal. I mean, this should have been shut down early.
Like the DAs around the country, when nobody was looking, they snuck in judges in these positions all around the country. At the same time they were doing the DAs. There's a case here. I talked to you about this the other day in LA County, where this woman stabbed her boyfriend to death 108 times. The judge in the case, the jury, found her guilty in 5 minutes. Her defense was cannabis psychosis, which is reefer madness, which is insane in the state of California, where they have literally pot shops kept open all through COVID by Governor Newsom because there was so much at stake for their marijuana psychosis denial. As Berenson wrote in his book, it's quite real. So you now got these 2 competing opinions within the left in this one case. And this woman says that he got her to take 2 bong hits. This is a young girl with a young boyfriend. He barely knew her. It was about a 3 or 4 week relationship out in Ventura. And she takes a second hit off the bong of weed, goes into the kitchen, gets a giant butcher knife and stabs him 108 times, kills his dog. Police show up. She's covered with blood out of some horror picture, and she's got the knife in her hand, and he's dead, and she's still chopping him up. Okay, that's cool. Next thing you know, the jury says, guilty as charged, all counts. It took us 5 minutes, and she was just bludgeoning him. Her defense was cannabis psychosis, involuntary usage. Now, keep in mind, the reason I'm suggesting this and saying this is because there's plenty of people historically who have driven in a blackout and killed people on a highway. That is not a defense, because you voluntarily ingested the alcohol that caused the blackout that led to the death of that family in the van when you were driving the wrong way on the freeway. That's never been a defense, and rightfully so. Her defense was it was involuntary use of the cannabis, and
he held her head to it and said, "Breathe it in now."
No. He suggested she take the hits off the bong. Now he's not around. He's no longer around to say that's not true, and say she just took a hit off the bong. Her defense was A, cannabis psychosis, and B, involuntary inhalation from the bong, him suggesting to her to take the hits off the bong. Okay, whatever it was, the jury said, go, get out of here. They convicted her in 5 minutes, right? The judge in the case, again, one of these liberal judges who got the call, looked at the case, and there's no point in even having juries because he gave her 100 hours of community service. They were looking at a life imprisonment without parole. He decided to give her 2 years probation and 100 hours of community service. The mother of the kid died from a heart attack after she heard the news of him being bludgeoned to death. So the mother was no longer there. The rest of the family was in the courthouse here in LA County, and they just collapsed. And this judge decided, again, there's the jury. Why even have a jury system? The jury finds her guilty on all counts. She should have gotten life without parole or life with parole, whatever you want to do, 30 to life. The judge decided that she should get 100 hours of community service. Now, what are we supposed to do as a society? You tell me, because this is what's happening all around the country. This guy, just so you know, Peter Navarro, the economic advisor to Donald Trump, was sentenced to 4 months more time than a woman who took 108 stab wounds into her boyfriend and killed him. She got 100 hours. She got more stab wounds than hours, 108 to 100 in terms of community service.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, if he's going to be insulting, why even bother with the community service?
I don't know. I guess
you just say goodbye. I mean,
who wants her to show up with her psychosis at community service?
Well, definitely don't ever work at a dispensary.
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying. They've put so much political muscle behind the denial of any effect of this cannabis that all of a sudden to let the state now say there is an effect of cannabis. What I'm trying to show you is the loggerheads that they're banging against, and it doesn't matter anymore to the far left. You could have these opposite ideas, and they just shrug it off. You could have Hunter Biden not agree to a subpoena, but Navarro and Bannon going to jail under the same exact charge. This is where we are. It's not a question of draconian or liberal policies. It is the two different systems of justice that are now, like Roland Freisler had in Nuremberg. It's where we are as a judicial system in this country. And the Navarro case is a perfect example. This is a 70-plus-year-old man. They're expecting to do 4 months of hard time, because they decided to give him this situation that Hunter Biden is doing the same thing with.
Right. Well, and they also did it with Bannon.
Right.
I mean, Bannon is out. And by the way, it had never been done prior to 73 or something. So it's like, this is something not even done. And they're just, oh, you're a Trump buddy. Okay, so Trump, we'll get him on the money. We'll get you on contempt. We'll just make this shit up as we go.
Right.
And who cares? And
don't forget the Supreme Court ruling, saying that the Biden administration can cut the barbed wire down on the Texas border. But
there's more to it though.
Because what is it?
They didn't say that Texas can't keep putting it in.
Right.
So it's kind of this weird.
Well, there's also no explanation of their decision, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think it's a federal to the state, and
I'm saying there was no written explanation. They didn't provide any written explanation.
They don't want to.
People are saying that they're going to eventually have to explain themselves, but maybe not. Maybe not.
I don't know. I mean, they could just keep refusing cases. And
again, they never ruled on the Colorado Trump on the ballot case.
Right.
As Viva kept saying they're going to rule by January 5th. I said, no, they're not. Now we're into the end of January.
No, they're going to hear it February 12th.
Right. Okay.
So, okay.
I mean,
by then,
the ruling may not come out till July.
Yeah. Or they may just say it's moot. What I can see them doing is, if the primary finishes, then they'll say,
it's moot. It's moot. We don't have to rule on this.
Was it standing or latches?
Yeah.
Standing or latches. You pick it. Yeah. So either way, it's too late. But somebody else is worried about a trial.
Who's that?
Up. Our friend Alec Baldwin.
Oh, that's so sad. It's so sad.
Now, I did want to talk to you on that.
Go ahead.
I was talking to Nate about it, and I realized, okay, I get it now. He's wanting a speedy trial. Now, if you remember back when the first idiots took over the case, he was demanding a speedy trial. Meanwhile, his lawyer was eviscerating them on the charge and everything else, and then going after her for being a state senator and the conflict. Well, the gun thing, the claim that the gun was broken by the FBI, etc., they wanted to get extra experts to overcome that, but they were on the clock. And as Nate put it,
what do you mean on the clock? The lawyers on their clock?
No, the prosecution's on the clock.
When they say on the clock, you mean paid by the hour?
No, I mean,
because you say on the clock.
I'm explaining, dude.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
He's saying I want a speedy trial. They have X amount of time to get him in trial. But if they have to send this away to labs, that takes time that cuts into their time. So the way they get around it is they dismiss the charges. They can always refile the charges, but the time they had already taken was taken off the clock. So this is, you have from here to here to get this thing in court. So they dismissed it at that point. So then they could take their time, do the clock thing, send off the gun, have the experts build their case up, and then now they're charging again. But Alec Baldwin's team is saying speedy trial, speedy trial, speedy trial, because again, it's a pressure play to try to force their hand, get them to fall short in evidence. I mean, it's not like delaying it is going to help Alec Baldwin, is it? Because that just gives them more time to come up with more things. So the more he forces it on their hand, the more likely they are to make a mistake. So I did not realize all that before.
Yeah, there is some truth to that. I mean, the fact of the matter is he's looking at 18 months max, right, Eric?
Sure. I think that he should take it to trial for sure, because if the max he's going to face is 18 months, and it probably won't even be 18 months, I'm sure a judge will knock that down. Odds are pretty good.
If he gets the stabbing judge, he may be in great shape.
Right. But he might even get a jury that'll nullify it, because there are many people who are questioning it. The SAG union has come out on his side now, stating that that actors aren't in charge of weapons, and the claim that he should never point it at somebody else is complete bullshit, that they've been doing it for 100 years. And with the SAG union coming out and saying that, that's not helpful. And all he has to do is flip one juror. All it takes is one.
I mean, it's a Democratic liberal jury pool down there, so
absolutely
that is not going to be so difficult. But I'm fascinated by the forensic experts they brought in on part of the prosecution, who have successfully, quote unquote, proven that Lee Harvey Oswald was the lone gunman in a 2013 TV show. They were brought in, father and son, to demonstrate that the Warren Commission was correct, which is kind of interesting that they'll now be up against JFK conspiracy expert Alec Baldwin. You can't make this up. There's another connection, I think, to this case involving the Kennedys. Eric and I have now merged the two worlds of Baldwin and the Kennedys. This is where
through this show.
Through the show. Apparently, like I mentioned last week, we've got the Bobby Kennedy III and Amaryllis Fox campaign manager debacle. But now it turns out that the Spanish talking Mrs. Baldwin keeps going outside in micro miniskirts and heels and showing herself to the paparazzi for minutes.
How you dress in the winter.
Yeah, this is 12 degrees in New York, and she goes outside briefly with the phone to the paparazzis out there, and she just keeps coming out in different outfits now. Well, it turns out there's more to this. Look at this. This is where she's going outside. And this is only for a couple of minutes to show this thing off, I guess, this operation she's got going on here. But apparently, Bobby Kennedy Jr.'s sister, Rory Kennedy, is making a documentary about the Baldwins, which I didn't know. Rory Kennedy, the anti-RFK Jr. sister, who works off and on with HBO, making documentaries about Vietnam and some other Bubba whatever her leftist angle is. By the way, there's one I just watched on YouTube called YouTube by Alex Winter, produced by Gail Ann Hurd. And it was supposed to be about the origin of YouTube. And we were watching it the other night. It's on Netflix. And I said, oh, it's kind of interesting. They've got the creator of YouTube, this guy with a neck beard, a Chinese guy from Taiwan, who was the original co-creator of YouTube. I didn't know anything about this. And all of a sudden, it begins to show people like Jordan Peterson and Ben Shapiro and saying this is the far right problem of YouTube.
Darkness,
yes.
In there,
and I went, oh, right.
They did that headline a couple of years back in the New York Times. Remember, they did that sphere, and they put in Dave Rubin was caught in that mess, and Joe Rogan, and they put them with like Richard Spencer. I mean,
they did the same thing in this doc. This was slanderous. They did the same thing in this doc. I had to bail out. But anyway, so Rory Kennedy makes documentaries on the left, and apparently she will be making one, and I presume it's going to involve the trial. I think that's how far this thing is going to go, and they're going to make a whole movie about this whole debacle, from Baldwin's point of view, which is going to put some pressure on the people down there in Santa Fe.
Yeah, for sure. John Doe, stop spamming the chat.
Who's John Doe?
I don't know.
Oh, here's some news. This is my favorite story of the day. Cannabis cafe bill revived in California. They are determined, this is from today's Epic Times, they're determined to open up these cafes, Eric, like in Amsterdam, in California, where you could just go in and smoke weed. A week into the new legislative session, a California bill that seeks to legalize Amsterdam-style cannabis cafes that was shot down by the governor last year has been revived, according to its author, Assemblyman Matt Haney, a Democrat out of San Francisco. It goes on and on and on, that they will not rest until there are cannabis cafes in San Francisco. Man. Yeah, you got to have the priorities. But
don't you already have a cannabis cafe on the street? I mean, you got Needle Park there, don't you? I mean,
right, but yeah, they want to have these cafes like when you go into Amsterdam. In other words, everything they said, the thing about the speed limit regulator by Wiener on the cars, he says in his press conference, they have this in the EU. They always cite things that have passed in Europe. Because they look at Europe as a model for us, and we don't care what the EU does. I don't care that there's cafes in Amsterdam that you could smoke weed, but they do. They do, because they go there all the time. We don't. I have no desire to go into a weed cafe in Amsterdam, although I've been in them many times.
Especially on their way to Davos, right?
Especially with John Sinclair, who is still the high-time judge. But here's something. The Democrats are bringing a bill to outlaw armed citizen militias, and this is about the people taking their this is relatively new. It's from yesterday. Democratic lawmakers are seeking to outlaw privately organized paramilitary and militia group activities within the United States. And if you break it down, what it simply means is a group of people with their guns anywhere together, whether it's they're trying.
It's obvious, dude, because at first you legalize crime.
Yep.
Then you have your citizens defenseless.
Yep.
So if they can't grab the guns directly, well, at least stop them from protecting themselves. So no Koreans on rooftops here.
That's right. That's right.
They're trying to prevent anybody from being able to protect themselves to where everybody will be so terrified that they only have one option, and that's
to submit.
Please, Papa Government. Please.
Right. Well, this is Senator Ed Markey, our old friend, a Democrat out of Massachusetts, and Representative Jamie Raskin, the famous Democrat out of Maryland, January 11th, introduced companion bills titled, quote, Preventing Private Paramilitary Activity Act of 2024, which is a scary name for people really just expressing their Second Amendment rights and showing up at events.
Like Kyle Rittenhouse.
It's like having a few Kyle Rittenhouses at the same event who were together.
There were others.
Yeah. Right. He wasn't alone, right? Or
he was not. No, that's what I'm saying. He's not the only one The business recruited because they were saying, hey, these riots are burning our place down. We're losing millions of dollars in property because we're a car dealership, and we really don't want to lose our car dealership.
You're absolutely correct, because here's what Markey says. The quote from Markey: private paramilitary actors such as the Proud Boys and the Oath Keepers pose a serious threat to democracy, Eric, and the rule of law, and we must create new prohibitions on their unauthorized activities that interfere with the exercise of people's constitutional rights. The forces of bigotry, hatred, and violent extremism must be stopped for the sake of our democracy. It sounds like something out of the Third Reich that Roland Freisler would be screaming from his bench at Nuremberg.
What you need to do is push back at them and say, oh, you're picking on Black Lives Matter, because they need to gather and protect themselves and the other minorities. And so you obviously hate minorities, you racist so-and-so. This is a racist bill because you're preventing Antifa and Black Lives Matter from gathering to protect all the oppressed people. I can't believe it. I'm so in shock.
Well, I don't know how this is going to pass the House, but who knows these days? I mean, anything's possible at this point. I mean, look at that bill they were trying to pass on the border, you know, allowing 15 to 5,000 a day to get in, or 5,000 a week to get in, and money for the Ukraine situation. You know, I mean, it's until Trump said something, they were going to pass this thing. Until Trump spoke out. That's how powerful Trump's words are. They were going to. Now it's dead. Now it's DOA, this bill. But it was about to be passed by the turtle.
Yeah, good term for him. By the way, reaching back to an earlier story and speaking of entitled actors, how about Alyssa Milano?
Oh, don't get me started with Alyssa Milano with this chick. Let me tell you something. She sits in front of me at the Dodger games. She's like in a row in front of me, and she's always looking around for people to look at her. And she used to go with her agent, who I think she married, the agent, and now they have a little boy. And the little boy is in the Little League, and they want to send their Little League team, I think, to DC from California or somewhere. And she put together a Kickstarter to raise money for the Little League team, asking people to donate so her son could go to Washington, D.C.
Poor starving urchin.
The starving urchin in West L.A. I mean, people are outraged who are fans of her, shredding her on social media. The Kickstarter goal, I think it may have been, what's the main one?
I don't know. Kickstarter, indie. Oh, you're talking about the GoFundMe or something.
GoFundMe. It was literally GoFundMe. They had a goal. Oh my God. Right. No. I'm saying it literally, the goal was like $10,000 or $15,000 that they could have written a check in 5 seconds. They were up to like 7,500, and she was groveling for people to send more money so her little Charles Dickens urchin, starving little child could go to DC for the Little League World Series or something. Wow.
Oh my God. Well, Mark, it's not only her child who is suffering in the luxury there, but we have a lot of people in LA who they've lost their jobs.
Oh yeah, this is so sad.
A lot of people, there are a lot of people of color, Mark.
This is the saddest story. They literally fired 110 by Zoom top staffers. First of all, let me just back up. The LA Times and the Washington Post are hemorrhaging money, and I mean hemorrhaging. Nobody reads this piece of shit. There could be an article about a fire where a house caught on fire, a simple article, and they will editorialize the house being on fire because of global warming and this and that in every single article in the paper. They're unreadable. Any factually based thing, they weave in political dogma into the thing. Okay. The Chinese guy who owns the paper is trying to sell the paper. He has taken such a bath. He put his daughter in charge 2 years ago. And this dragon lady of a daughter had no title. She just ran the paper into the ground herself, running roughshod. She had just gotten out of graduate school. And she said, "This is my dad's paper. Go F yourselves. I'm running this thing." And the dad was busy with his other businesses. He's a Chinese American guy. But anyway, the hemorrhaging is unbelievable. So yesterday or 2 days ago, they fired 110 top staffers. A couple of them were people of color because there's so many people of color on the staff that it would have been impossible not to fire
that's all they
them.
hired.
That's all they hired is these
They passed over qualified people that would write good articles.
Right. It's just any broad different color. It's not like they're black people. It's anybody that's up there. And this chick, this Jean Guerrero, put out a tweet that's been all over the internet today because everybody has just been playing the smallest violin in the world for her. She was fired. She put her email and address in there. She can't believe she was fired. She was the only Latina on the editorial board, is her claim to fame. But that's not really her claim to fame. Her real claim to fame is that she came up with the famous saying for the LA Times that Larry Elder was the black face of white supremacy. That's her claim to fame, and she owns that, and she loves it. And Larry Elder wears it like a badge of honor, the black conservative Republican. But that's what she came up with. That's how far left these people are. And now they're crying that their woke paper is going broke, not to mention Sports Illustrated and some others.
Well, you mentioned Washington Times, so I'm going to jam
Washington Post, I think it is, right?
Or I'm sorry, Washington Post, sorry. So I'm going to jam this in there because the other illustrious piece of garbage, nationally known person, Taylor Lorenz, had comments about it and released a video. And
what?
Here's a small snippet of what she had to say.
Let's see.
The journalism industry is overrun with elite, underqualified, rich, entitled Nepo babies, okay? And that part of it is terrible. It's horrifying. The journalism industry.
Do you know what Taylor Lorenz is?
Yeah, I mean, well, she's one of them.
Rich. She literally described herself. She went to a boarding school in Switzerland. I think it's her father, her uncle, runs the Internet Archive. That's why nobody can burn her. Every time somebody saves a story of her slant, her stuff miraculously gets pulled off of the Internet Archive.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, because we all snapshot things, put them on the archive to say, hey, you know what? When they try to change the article or a headline, but no worries. Hey, Unc, can you help me out?
You know what they don't? There's something that they are completely clueless about, and that's irony. They really do not, right, Eric?
That's why humor is the first to die. Humor and irony, they go together.
Right. They don't understand irony and humor. They obviously, humor has some political connotations to it, depending on the type of humor that you're doing, unless you're doing like just ethnic jokes or whatever, which I'm not opposed to. But yeah, they really don't understand irony. And she probably thinks she's making a righteous, true statement.
Yeah, she probably is saying literally all those without looking in the mirror. She's incapable.
Well, it's a great day because in fact, the LA Times has become such a one-party state paper that there are no other papers here. They've all died off over the years because they couldn't survive against this 600-pound gorilla. But now the 600-pound gorilla is hemorrhaging, and it's falling off the top of the Empire State Building while being shot at by biplanes. It's starting to come down. So I wonder if there's going to be a power vacuum in LA, because this guy wants to sell the paper, but nobody wants to buy the goddamn thing because it's just hemorrhaging and nobody knows how to repair something like this.
Well, that's why Washington Post got bought by Bezos. Because it's not a legitimate business. It has to be somebody's little pet project. So I mean, some billionaire, maybe Bill Gates will buy it or something.
Well, it may be. They always try to put these groups together of like Hollywood people together. You know what I mean? Like 5 or 6 producers who want to buy the paper. That has failed in the past too.
Yeah, I mean, it has to take somebody who has just money to burn. Quite
right.
Literally,
if it's one person. Yeah. Well, the Chinese guy had money to burn, and he gave his daughter that toy. And as they say in Raging Bull, he ain't pretty no more.
Well, I'm just trying to think. Okay, you got Bezos, he bought the Post. You've got Elon, he bought Twitter. So, I mean, there's some other billionaires running around who have egos. Zuckerberg could buy it, or just idiot.
Are we a nation of oligarchs?
We're pretty close.
We're becoming a nation of industrial oligarchs.
I think we might be. Let's pay some bills. Got a lot of super chats coming in. They're helping us out being demonetized. Thank you, Pamela Clifton. Dick Dickerson's helping us out. He gave 20 memberships to people. So that's like $100 worth of memberships that he gave
That's
out.
Angie Dickerson's illegitimate son, one of our great supporters of Angie Dickerson.
Yeah, isn't that the movie of the week?
Yeah, that's what I put up on Twitter. Angie Dickinson's. It's Dickinson, but I was just making a joke.
Right, Big Bad Mama. That was
Big Bad Mama's the movie of the week. Yeah.
And then Mary came and gave 5 memberships away. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Pasha's in here. Lasagna is a dessert now. Best news in a long time.
Well, depending what you do with lasagna, you can make it into a dessert. My mother made a great lasagna. I used to love having her lasagna. But I think we're going to go Italian. I think in Youngstown, there seems to be a lot of Italian restaurants there that have been approaching us.
Probably going to maybe going Irish, Mark.
Irish food?
Well, yeah,
what's Irish food? Potatoes?
Corned beef.
Oh, I'm going to throw up. Come on, Hunley. Come on.
Oh, what are you talking about?
What is Irish
St.
food?
Patty's Day weekend. It's St. Patty's Day, for God's sake.
We're going to have corned beef and potatoes? Are you insane? These people will start a riot in cell block number 9. Irish food.
Well, we'll see.
Yeah. Jesus Christ.
Oh, my God. George Erickson, here's to the current subscribers and members of your team. Wish I could be in Youngstown. Here's to the current. Okay. So thank
I think we're going to have a system where you can watch it, right? Or
we're going to record it. Youngstown is actually 2 events. Saturday is a VIP event.
Right.
That is literally just.
Are there any tickets left for that VIP thing?
Yes, there's some left.
Okay. All right.
But Saturday is not recorded. It's actually designed to be private. It is.
Which one? The VIP one?
The VIP is Saturday, yes.
Oh, gotcha.
Nothing is being recorded. I mean, we'll take pictures of people if they like that, fine. But the whole point of it is to really hang out, get to know each other, talk about whatever, conspire, plan, what have you. Sunday is a live show.
Wow.
And people, can participate, ask questions, things like that. So it'd be a lot like a Freeform Friday on a Sunday. But that's the big difference between the 2 events.
I hope we get some people who remember James Trafficant who will show up and give us some personal stories.
That'd be cool.
You know what I mean?
We've got a lot of people coming who are in Montgomery.
Oh, okay, cool.
So that's a real statement, I think, to how they enjoyed the VIP event in Montgomery. They're coming to this one.
Oh, repeat customers.
Yeah. I'm really looking forward to that.
Right on.
Just me. Why do I think a bill is being pushed by someone
who's
I'm sorry, someone whose kids are about to get their driver's licenses? Very funny.
And then batting averages is still under Astros president of Fat Bastards Club. Wow.
I think it's somebody who supports the opposing team there, Mark.
Yeah.
Dick Dickerson's, can you guys do a deep dive on Patton? His death is still debated on. I think he's on the list.
He's on the list. You're not going to like it because we're going to get into his virulent anti-Semitism. So I don't think you're going to be a fan of Patton after you see this episode.
True, but I mean, it's kind of like Ford.
Yeah.
There's
a little bit more than.
And there's been.
Yeah.
You guys could pray the Pure Father and Hail Mary, folks, owed by readings from the Torah, and they would demonetize this channel. Oh, what?
Okay.
I don't quite understand that, but thank you.
Okay.
Oh, what about the OMG report of the sex cases in Congress?
The Oh My God report? What about the OMG?
That's O'Keefe Media Group.
Oh,
remember?
I never would have gotten that one. Wow.
Yeah. Well, he. I remember Project Veritas fired him, or he quit.
Oh, that's the name of his new group. Okay.
OMG, gotcha. Yeah, it's O'Keefe Media.
I didn't know that. That's cute.
Sir Lawrence, are those communists on Eric's shirt? Thank you.
Those, that's the Skull and Bone Society that Eric was a member of. See, there's the skull and the bones.
I love this shirt. It is a very fun, lively Hawaiian shirt. BTK, Mark dumps his Mets and is loyal to the Dirty Dodgers.
I was never a Mets fan. I was never a Mets fan in my life. And when I was growing up, there were no Mets, so I had to go with Sandy Koufax and the Dodgers from the beginning. I've been a Dodger fan since day one. I mean, I went to Shea a lot, but I went to see the Dodgers at Shea.
John S., what are your thoughts on the E.J. Carroll? We talked about it. It's ridiculous. It's Alex Jones Part 2.
Right. Well, that's why the Alex Jones case, as Barnes has pointed out ad infinitum, was so important, because it was a dry run for this case. And
well, Alex Jones has been the dry run for everything.
Right.
I mean,
right. Absolutely.
He was the first one banned from all the different platforms. And, and Viva Barnes did a great interview with him, a sidebar, not recently, a couple of years back.
Yeah.
And he talked about how he discussed it with his father. And they came to the determination that they're going to be canceling people. And if you're going to be canceled, be number one.
Right. Be the first one. Be the first
and because he's the first one, then that allowed him to rebuild or have something going, because he was famous for that. There are many other people canceled after him.
Right.
Like Gavin McInnes, Owen Benjamin. We can go on and on.
Yeah.
And nobody really knows or cares about them, but you always know the first one.
Right.
So that
also the trial was similar to this trial, where the judge was draconian. The judge was preventing Alex Jones from saying he was innocent. The judge prevented him from speaking on other issues. Very similar to this. I mean, Trump took the stand for 3 minutes just to show that he would take the stand. I mean, any longer, the judge would have been up Trump's ass, Eric, right? I mean, the more he pontificated on the case, the more the judge would have cited him, and that would have been awkward.
Right, but I'm just saying that Alex Jones is always the trial run, because Trump got kicked off of Twitter. Alex Jones was the first, and then it went down the line to Trump. So he has this really odd, dubious honor of being the test case, I guess, every time. All right, Jim Satala, the speedy trial demand doesn't abrogate because they dismissed and refiled. There's legal precedent that bind them to the original charge date for speedy trial purposes. This might lead to the entire cases getting tossed out.
Yeah, that's what I think. I agree with Jim, because I could just say one thing.
Law.
No, I don't know New Mexico law either, but just in general, this is 2.5 years. I mean, why not make it 5 years? I mean, at what point does this end? I mean, I don't disagree with Baldwin on this. This is 2.5 years of nothing. Nobody's investigating it. There was no hunt for a guy with one arm who may have been the killer. None of this stuff was going on. The FBI thing took a couple of weeks. They destroyed the gun by accident, by their incompetence, whatever. The point of the matter is, this should have been settled 2 years ago. So he has, again, he might be saying what this guy's saying, yelling into the wind, because they may move for dismissal based on not having a speedy trial, Eric.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's...
And I don't know New Mexico law either, but he may have grounds for this, because what is the end of a not speedy trial? 5 years? I mean, how many years do you have to wait?
I think a speedy trial, I want to say, is like 90 or 100. I don't know the exact number.
Right, but there's got to be a number.
But I do believe that they can dismiss the charges and then refile later. And I think that has happened. But from the point of trial, as Nate put it, if you charge somebody today and you're on the clock, you have to do it in 90 days.
Right.
10 days in, you say, okay, we're dismissing for now. That 10 days is taken off of the total. So
I understand. I understand. But this is 2.5 years.
Right, but people do that all the time. I mean, that does happen. There have been cases where they.
Then what is the end? Then my question is, what is the limit?
I don't know.
To a speedy trial, there has to be statutes that talk about what the limit is of a speedy trial based on the amendments.
I don't know. I have to consult my law license, which I don't have. I don't know. Shout out to Tucker in Alberta. Thank you.
Wow.
Make Canada free again. Yeah, he's going on a tour up there.
Oh, I got you.
And he was joined by citizen
by Trudeau. We'll probably get jostled by the secret police of Canada.
Well, it could be because he's hanging out with public enemy number one in Canada, Jordan Peterson.
Right. They'll pick them both up on charges. Did Peterson go to his re-education camp yet?
I think he did.
He graduated?
I think so. And Gad Sad has been having a fun time with that, with his with his education of Peterson online, it's pretty hilarious. Where he's like, he'll put on a wig and say, "I am beautiful." Correct?
Wow. Boy, it's gone so far, so fast, it makes your head spin. So far, so fast.
Yeah. George Erickson, do my wife and I equal a pair of military clerks?
Yes, that's according to this law. Oh yeah.
Yeah, you'd be like the couple in St. Louis who sat there, standing outside protecting their property.
That's what they're
locked
looking
up
at.
forever.
That's what they're looking for. That couple in St. Louis to be taken down. Yeah.
The number one enemy is half our friends and relatives who have quit looking for the truth. They no longer want the truth. Even if you can show them the truth using their trusted news source, they don't want truth. Yeah,
it's kind of weird how close-minded the left has become just to any outside information. Forget about political points of view. Science is part of it. There's all kinds of information that the left has simply closed the doors of their minds from hearing. They have just made up their minds on a broad spectrum of issues.
Well, it's like a parasitic mind that, back to Gad Saad, but it is a mental parasite. Mm-hmm. New things on Rumble. Missy B 2020 is now a monthly supporter on Rumble. I didn't know they had monthly supporters on Rumble.
Well, we do now.
Yeah, thank you, Missy. You are, I think, our first monthly supporter on Rumble.
Wait, did he open Rumble Studios today? Dave Rubin, he made an announcement that they're physical studios.
Dave Rubin?
Yeah.
Well, there is a studio for Rumble in Sarasota, the opposite end of the state,
right?
The West Coast.
Well, there's two in Florida, but maybe he broadened it. Maybe that was the announcement.
Well, there's Rumble Studio, the app, which we have access to, but it's still in beta. And
no. I think he was talking about more physical studios. I'm gonna have to look at it after the show. We'll see.
It could be. I don't know.
Yeah,
but that'd be Chris Peplovsky if you're talking about Rumble. Hops Freak gave a Rumble rant saying another great freeform. I appreciate your research and presentation. Thank you very much. Back to super chats. And folks, I am compressing these because I do have to go to the event with Mark's friend, Dr. Drew, who is conducting the ceremony. Timothy Guai. Is that how you say that? It's like Guam, Guai.
You're asking me? I don't know.
Was Tucker's question about physical violence to trump a dog whistle knowing his background?
Wow, I don't know, man.
No,
that's kind of sketchy.
I hope not. No,
I hope not.
I don't think so.
I hope not.
Okay, David March. How do I get tickets for the Youngstown event? I got a great book I want to give Mark.
In the description, there, bro. Yeah, Eric will
in the descriptions here on YouTube. There's links to that. There's also in Rumble. Leslie is flagging me on the side. She wanted me to tell any of you who are watching now who have bought tickets to be on the lookout for an email from Leslie or me about the event. She's got a couple of questions like if you have food allergies or whatever. So please check your spam folders. If you bought a ticket and you haven't heard from anybody, it'll help out a lot.
David, hold on. I just want to say something because a lot of people want to give me books. If you could just send it to Eric in the post office box and mail it, because I can't just get on a plane with 50 books after the event, so it becomes a problem. Yeah. I appreciate the book. I'm sure it's a great book, but just send it in the mail to Eric, and I'll get it that way. And that's to anybody else who wants to give us books because it's just too many books.
And if possible, just fill out the contact form and tell me what the book is first.
Yeah.
I already own it. Yeah. and if he already owns it, and then somebody else could enjoy the book. And I would rather spread it around rather than Mark having 20 copies of.
I mail them now to Eric, the extra copies that I have.
Soltron, what do you two think about the rendition of "Take Me to Church" sung in Fulton County, Georgia?
I don't know the song, so maybe you can hum a few bars, Soltron.
Yeah, hum it through
I know
that
Fannie Willis showed up in church and started saying that.
I'm glad she did because
that was good.
People
right?
recording. No, that's great because later on for criminal charges, there's
Well, that video that she said she's never going to allow anyone in her office to have relationships with others. That's a gift that keeps on giving. That's one of the greatest hits of 2024 so far.
Oh, for sure, for sure. Al Gonzalez just got Moon Doe's pecan.
How is that?
Pecan. He said it's superb. Try it, AUS viewers. Great sponsor too.
That's my favorite one. Is the pecan one?
Yeah, you like it.
Or pecan, as they say in Texas. Al's got pecan, of course, because he's from New York. But that was my favorite flavor. But there's a new one, isn't there?
There's a couple new ones. A French vanilla.
French vanilla.
The latest.
Yeah. Right.
Did he have a blueberry one?
Yeah, it was blueberry. That's the one.
Rolling out.
But,
yeah, the French vanilla. I know you said you definitely wanted to try.
No, but the blueberry also is of interest.
Yeah, well,
okay.
Get on the site.
Okay, I'm going to go after the show. I'm getting on the site.
All right. Innisfad trying again. O'Keefe report on sex cages in basement of Congress, orgies, etc.
Oh my God!
Used to coerce voting in Congress. It's a big deal. I did miss that report.
I didn't know that report. I'll have to look at that one. Sex cages. That's a big one. That's the name of my new book, Sex Cages.
And why would they go downstairs? Didn't they like to use the tables in rooms like that one dude who anyway.
You got me. I know there's a jail cell in Dodger Stadium that they have beneath the field that they take you to. There's like a bunch of cells down there.
Wow.
Yeah.
And George Erickson with some emojis. Thank you very, very much. And we have a few locals tips because we're not going to be headed over for an after party today. Normally, we do an after party exclusive to locals where we cover tips and other questions. But because we are short on the time, we are not able to do that today. Bighorn Shaver sent from Jeopardy this week. Remember to answer in the form of a question. Bonus points if you can ID both the film, the character name, and the quarterback name.
Quarterback?
Yeah, and it's a screenshot of Oliver Stone, screenwriter of this 1983 movie, named its main character to honor the Super Bowl winning quarterback from 1982.
I don't know, but we talked about
Any Given Sunday.
Any Given Sunday with Jamie Foxx the other day. I don't know if that's a relevant.
Do you know the name of the main character? Maybe that's
I forgot.
Oh, the 83 movie. No, that wouldn't be right because that was later.
Yeah, I don't know.
So Born on the 4th of July, maybe? Okay, well, I don't know.
I don't know. I know Oliver's a 49er fan, so it's going to be a good weekend.
Would have been Montana then? Did he have a character named Montana?
Well, they had Joe Montana.
No, I'm saying, but did he have a character?
Yeah.
Last name of
Well,
Montana.
Right. He wrote Scarface, so maybe he's thinking of the Al Pacino character.
That could be it.
Scarface related to Joe Montana.
Tony
the only thing
Montana.
I could think of. Yeah, Tony Montana.
Yeah. Okay, that could be it.
It's a stretch, bro. That's a Spectrum stretch.
Okay, but it's a Jeopardy question. That's Spectrum Central.
But it's Spectrum Jeopardy, though. I think
But maybe. I mean, it would be hilarious if he did do that.
Right. Well, he did. He did.
Montana is, it does work.
He said they were going to cut him up with a chainsaw. He was waiting on the couch with his wife as they were arguing in the bathroom whether to kill him because he stupidly, under the influence of cocaine, said he was working with the Miami DA on the movie, who was advising him on the movie, and they perceived that to be he was working with the Miami DA to get them, to give them information. They didn't understand that, and they had this argument, the two guys in the bathroom of the hotel room, whether to cut him up with a chainsaw or let him go. He was sitting
range.
Well, he didn't hear the details of it, but it was kind of where the scene comes from with the chainsaw, if that makes any sense to people.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
That guy who does the chainsaw killing, that character is who was in the bathroom arguing with the other guy about what to do with Oliver. They thought he was a rat.
It's insane.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. He told me that story.
All right. Professor Tom said the reason no one will subscribe to the channel is that you're not giving away cars like Oprah did/does.
That's weird.
if you guys provide us with cars, we will give away cars. Okay?
Electric cars with
electric cars, perfect.
with triggers on them.
It actually will be a little Hot Wheels,
Yeah,
little remote control cars. Here's a car. No, JFK who done it said good evening, thank you. Pasha said, sent a screenshot, resubmitted saying that's kind of weird. Not a school, and you can't make this stuff up. It's literally school written on the road like a crosswalk. But I don't get it. I heart PG. Love you more than PG. Mark, did you see Oswald's mother's book?
Yeah, I've seen it. It's nothing new. There's also a record of her recording. There's an album.
Yeah,
the audio version of that.
And she stands with Texas and Israel.
Mm-hmm.
Mean Median said maybe you should have pierogies when you're in Youngstown.
Oh, that's a good choice. Pierogies are interesting.
Maybe I don't know. Huron Trader said Italian in Youngstown.
Yeah, that seems to be a lot of people say that. I mean, that's some comments I've been getting.
Mali 1947. Eric, what's with the Halloween shirt? It's not Halloween. It's just a cool shirt. Rogue Thunder. I think that super chat meant that if you read the Bible on the stream, you'd be demonetized immediately.
I see.
Oh, okay.
Right. Probably true.
Yeah.
Probably true.
And then continued with, on that note, Exodus 14:28, and the waters returned and covered the chariots and the horsemen, the entire force of Pharaoh coming after them into the sea. Not even one of them survived.
Tough break. Tough break for the Pharaoh.
Yeah. Tina Gwynn sent a $10 tip. Thank you. Gentlemen, great show tonight, as usual. Love it. And then Church Fart, a meme twofer, one for each of us. And it's pictures of Obama holding up FBI hat saying, are they not? Oh, cute. It's an FBI ball cap. Mm-hmm. And it says they're non-adjustable. Yep. They only fit leftist Marxist heads. And
Leslie liked that one.
Yeah, she did. Yeah. And then the other, he's holding up a blue cap and it says they don't come in red. That's good. That would only confuse the public. Mm-hmm. So that was there. Let me make sure that I'm not missing any other Rumble rants. Nope. And a couple more super chats. Leslie, can you grab Oswald?
Do we still have habeas corpus? Yeah, I think that's the main question. Thank you. No. Yeah, that's a pretty smart question, to be honest with you. It could just be a name only. I mean, if the judges just keep overruling the juries, what's the point?
Yeah, I don't know. It's a totally again, I don't know. It's like I wish I knew this before the legal panel, which I wasn't able to do today, because that would be a question to discuss with all the lawyers. Yeah, I really don't have a great answer on that. David March, VIP bot, very immense pundit.
Way to go, March! You're in the game.
Fantastic.
You're in the game. Bring your questions. I'll answer them. So will Eric.
Yeah.
Don't bring the books. Mail the books. Don't schlep the book. We got so much stuff in Dallas. I literally had to get another seat, steal it from a fat person who had paid extra for the second seat to put the stuff on that was given to me by our followers in Dallas.
Okay, you didn't fly Southwest.
No, I flew on some other airlines. There was
because that fat person would have got a free one.
There was some fat person who bought another seat the other day, and a woman wanted to put her baby in that seat and became a battle royale, infant versus fatty. I don't know who won that fight, but the fat woman had paid for the extra seat. So the mother said, "Can I use that extra seat for this tiny baby?" And it became an awkward modern day battle royale.
Yeah, I imagine so.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Is there an AUS perpetual calendar in the future? I'm not sure what that is.
He means subjects, and kind of varies with the wind. I mean, we have a list of subjects to do, but the order is not in order. Let me just put it that way.
No, and a lot of times the order is inspired by a current event.
Yeah, there's different.
Your imagination.
Right.
You know what? We should talk about such and such now because X.
Yeah. Like somebody who's watched the Rodney Dangerfield episode, and she said, "Can you please do one on Gilbert Gottfried?" And I thought, I think we did. I mean, not everybody knows every episode, so you have to look at the website and see what's there.
Well, you talked about him a lot during the National Lampoon episode.
Yeah.
You want to get the Gilbert Gottfried. Yeah. That would be the one. And I did cut out a piece
short
about
or something.
Him.
Yeah.
But yeah, a clip. I don't normally do clips on here. I'll do some shorts, but I did do a clip on that because he had just passed away.
Right.
We had
Right.
just talked,
Right.
You know.
Yeah, I think I've talked a lot about Groubert.
Big Bill 767 was 767. Great show, guys.
And those the grounded planes of the 767s, or what's the ones that the door keeps blowing off? 740s?
737.
Okay, well, some new ones.
It's an odd one.
Boeing.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to call Nikki Haley and just ask her why these doors are blowing off these Boeings.
And she'll say, "Talk to my fundraisers."
How long is she going to go, Eric? Do you think, in your humble opinion?
Hopefully not much longer, since the demo money is being, Reid Hoffman, who was a total Democrat, was just keeping her propped up. I don't think she's serving the purpose that they wanted. If Trump is just piling on the win so much and everybody's laughing about it, I think that's why he jumped off. And so others probably will be.
Well, I'd like her to stay on because I think these Trump victories are great for Trump. To have these touchdowns in the end zone every couple of weeks. It's a sure win, and he looks like a winner. He gives a speech. She's a loser. She becomes like the Washington Generals, and he becomes the Harlem Globetrotters.
Yeah, good point. Good point.
I hope she stays on. Stay till Super Tuesday. Let's go. Come on.
I mean, she'll stay. She will stay, I think, as long as, it's only her and Trump now. And as far as she's concerned, if Trump goes to prison, she can get it. And I'm pretty sure that's her game. It's like, whatever it is, she'll limp along even at 1% or 0.5%, because it doesn't really matter, right? I mean,
even 7-Eleven has turned against her, and that was her base.
I agree. Well, remember, she wasn't. What was it? She was banned from a pageant as a 5-year-old because they didn't know how to place her if she wasn't black, or it was the craziest, weird comment. Bighorn Shaver said that Scarface, yes, we got it.
Okay, Scarface. Then we get
and it was Tony Montana.
Yeah.
So fantastic. See, that's called teamwork. I don't really follow the sport.
No, I know. I'm just saying. I know Oliver is a 49er fan, so it might make sense.
All right, last super chat, and Oswald will be saying good evening. Lynn Harder, I read that Obama got rid of habeas corpus.
Could be true. Lynn.
I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, he doesn't care about much else. But Tuesday,
Super Tuesday.
Do we tell them what's coming up?
No, they're just going to Google it and make a mess of the whole thing. They can't be trusted with this information. Let's face it. They'll find out on Tuesday like everyone else, including myself.
Yeah, fair enough.
Oh, by the way, we did interview Jim DiEugenio and Paul Blau the other day, which will air at a later date, on their new book, Chokeholds, which I really recommend. You'll see it in the episode. But they have a new book out together on 10 uncontestable chokeholds in the Kennedy assassination. The book is fantastic. Highly recommend it. When we show the episode, you'll see it, which we recorded yesterday. We'll probably air it in a couple of weeks. But great episode with Jim DiEugenio and Paul Blau, two of the top guys in the JFK research community. We really nerded out. We went full nerd. That was a lot of fun. We got into the weeds.
Very, very deeply. 2 hours of in the weeds.
2 hours. A lot of people won't be able to follow it because it's so nerdy, but you may have to play it back a couple of times too. There's a lot of gems in there. There's a lot of gems because there was stuff I was finding out and stuff that Jim was finding out from me. And it went back and forth for 2 hours. And Paul also knows a lot about Oswald. So very helpful out of Ottawa.
All right. Well, for now, I will have a grill stream tomorrow for all of you who are on Locals. I hope you check it out. It'll be an interesting one. A couple Locals community members may be joining me live for that grill stream. And if not, we'll see everybody on Tuesday.
Okay. Good luck to you. I hope you make it. Thanks for